Hello, folks. It's Mark Farrar again with Not Square Design in Butte, Montana, and here today to go through a second lesson of the day on the timber frame barn. This won't have so much to do with the timber frame itself, but they want to have a hay loft in the back, and I've got to have a conversation with the county regarding this. So I need to do some plotting, and so we're going to be going through the XREF command to attach the new drawing to the working drawing. And the working drawing is where I create elevations and sections. And then we'll be adding the hayloft to bents number 3 and 4, which are in the rear. And if you've been following this lesson set, then you know what those are. And hidden in the elevations. We'll be designing clerestory windows for the area between the main and shed roofs in plan view and translating that to elevation. At this time, the windows will be generic for curb appeal, as a conversation about their design has not yet occurred with the owners. So these are really busy people, and I just haven't had much opportunity to corner them and sit down and go through the details to make sure these plans are done. And we'll be sending everything to the plotting drawing, including arranging the new hayloft in plan view and then plotting off a full set of preliminary review by the county building department, and then leaving them with the owners. Once any notes from the building department are translated into plans. So basically, in this case, they're not plans I'm plotting to leave with the building department. It's simply something to take to the building department to have a conversation and say, look, here's what we're thinking about. What do you guys want from us? This is a timber frame, and I need to know what requirements we're going to have to meet. So we do know that we're getting graded lumber. It's going to be number 1. So that is the beginning. And so we need to get our stuff together and take a look at where we go from here. So this is kind of where we're going to end up, is here in this plotting drawing to do our plots. And in the viewport, I double click it, you can see this viewport get bold. And in the layer options, I've got the G junk and the G label junk layers do not print. I can see them, and that's what these lines are here. These dark and a little bit lighter maroonish red or burnt umber, whatever you want to call it. So that's what those are, and they don't plot. So what I had down here was another sheet that we could double click, and once we've created that upper level, we could bring it in here. But now that I've done the first and I know the size, because we were looking at something, well, I had no idea. So I drew something much bigger first time around. And now that we've got something going, what I can do is take this viewport. I don't want to stretch my border, which is my printable border, just to outline my drawing and make it look nice. So I'm going to copy that over, or just move it over. And now that's my printable region. So I'm going to hit C for copy and just grab this thing, copy it over here, and then I'm going to come to this end and stretch it down. And I know that that my upper level is going to be much smaller, and then we'll get it inserted into here. So right now, it doesn't look right. It's 2 of the same level. And then it is the 17th. So that's set. And then we'll be making sure, well, we won't need this probably. We'll leave it there in case we need it at some point, if their plans change. But I really think they're set in stone. But we may use this for an electrical plan. And so we can just move it down the line because of it. It's so closely set up to this. Although we have an upper end, we have a lower floor, so we'd probably want to make a copy of this when it came to that time. So then we have our elevation, which is a north-south elevation. And right now I've got it shown as a section. And so section AA, BB, and CC are all in here, but they're not referenced. They're not shown right. So we've got a little bit of work to do and then pull them in. And so we have our first floor plan, and it'd be the easiest for me to just do this as a save as, and then reopen this if I need to see it again, which I probably will. And so up here right now, I kind of have these bent lines, and if they've got a hay loft here, even though it may not be true, I'm going to offset by 2 inches because 2 is a great number for printing. And then I'm going to take this, and it is still a soffit, but I'm going to change it just so that I've got something that's telling me, hey, I have a totally different thing going on up there. So I'm going to turn it to a solid line by just making it on the rail layer. Would the rail really be here? Only if they decide they want to have it continuous and attach it to the outside of the bents. That's a very real possibility. It certainly could be easier than going between bents, is to just attach it. So if they're looking for simplicity, this may be the way to go, and then it probably won't be only 2 inches. But that's something design decision by the client, so that'll take some discussion. So now that I've got that, and I know where my loft area is going to be, it is above. And so I'm going to do a save as with this. So first I'll save it, my change that I made. And then I'm going to do a save as. And we're going to save this. We're in our correct plan. And so we're going to save this as A 4.1, even though the sheet number is not really going to change in our plotting. It still helps me keep things in the right order. And so this is the level, and I just do LVL 2 floor plan and hit save. And then before I open the other one, this is my set of plans. And so you'll have this one that's the start, and then you'll have the finish. But the finish is going to be a different name because I'm going to come in here. So if you get this to follow along, you're going to see LVL1. So now I've got a level 2 and a level 1 finished, but they're sort of start with. So that should be ready, and now I can open it in case we need it. It's sitting here. And then I like to kind of keep things in order to keep myself from grabbing the wrong sheet at the wrong time. And plotting, even though it's last step, I put it up front because until we're ready, this is kind of something we deal with later. So now these are nice and convenient where I want them. So let's go into 2, and let's make some changes to this thing. And so, basically at this level, if we go to our working and we look at this and we say, okay, here is my loft view. This is section BB. So it's from bent 3 and bent 4. This is a bent, that form right there. So bent 3 and bent 4 is where this floor is built. Bents 1 and 2 are built this way. So you can have this big garage door in there. And that garage door is going to come up above the floor. So we will see it in plan view. So when we get to our plotting drawing, and we do go back to what I just had kind of set up, but I'm not seeing it. So let's go here. There it is. So if you can't see something, this will pull up all your pages. And so I've got a lot of pages here that I'm never going to use. So if I want stuff, okay. And they're just, they're setups like for my engineering buddy that I went to school with. This is his stuff, and so I keep it around for when I do work for him and whatnot. So a few of these, then it'll help from making the string so long. But that's only in this plotting sheet where we have all of these guys going on. If we need to, for some reason, switch to an E1, then we'll have that. This is E1 north-south elevation. I don't know why that's called. Oh, it's an E1 sheet. That's the size. So that's our 40 by 32 size. We're using a 24 by 36 D sheet, and that's what all these are set up as right now. So it does appear that I can fit everything in here as long as I kind of conserve some space if I want to show the entire loft in here as I have it shown. So if I come up here and I look at my floor plan, that's it right there. Now let's go check its path because I don't see that line that I drew in there. And it's 4. And now we're looking for level 1 is our new name. We're going to open that. And there's my line. Just appeared in there. There it is there too. And so in the model space, we need to bring in floor plan 2. So this is floor plan 1. And because it was so large at one point, I don't know why. There we go. Then I have this X clipping, which has been in previous lessons. If you look up XREF stuff in my different playlists, you'll find some stuff on how to X clip. And so that's an X clip of that. Now, what I want to do is I am on my level 1 XREF layer. So I need to go to my properties manager because this layer set's not big enough for what I need to do. And I can go to even a smaller one because what I'm going to do is switch and make a different layer because we're going to bring in an external reference. I have these as flyouts. If you don't, just type XREF and you'll get this same dialog box. You'll click this to add what you want. We're going to add level 2 finish, and then we're going to hit open. Now it's going to ask you if you want to do an overlay. All this has been explained before, relative, what the differences are. Go into, I think, Osberg is where it really gets explained in the Osberg lessons. Detail on what all that stuff means. But we want to control is where it's inserted. Scales 1:1. So all that's good. So I've got it. Now I'm going to bring it. I need to zoom out a little bit. Let's bring it over. And if I want to keep it right at the same level, I could drop it on this guy. Make sure it's right on it. And it hit it vertically. And looks like we have 2 different sizes of circles. Now this is just over my work that I have. But we can just move that down. And this is the plotting drawing. So I'm just putting it in here only as a floor plan. And so we've got this. Oh, that is Osberg. I just brought in the Osberg drawing. So I'll show you how to fix this without going in and reattaching it. It's in a good spot. So let's go with it. So I've got this, see the address is going to the wrong place. So we're going to go in here again. We're going to say select new path. And then in that new path, I was in lesson 4, happened to be lesson 4. So let's go here. We'll pick level 2. And now we'll hit open. And it changed it to the right thing. So now it's the right thing. It's probably on the right level, XL, H, drop it on that guy, and look over here, it's not. So let's move it up. And this is something you don't have to do, but it can come in handy for lining up things to make things look really presentable on your drawing. And that might be a spot. I'm for some reason not getting that intersection. There we go. Yeah, it was just something to do. My accelerator's on. So That'll really mess with you in this program. And so we need to turn that off. And turn your hardware acceleration, just right click, graphic performance, turn it to off, hit OK, and that turns off. Now those little things won't be occurring so much. So now I can make it closer, but before I make it closer, let's X-clip it. So X-clip's going to get rid of all this extraneous garbage because there's my XREF, and I don't need all that stuff. It also, no, it appears to be, the walls are what's important. So let's go XL, H, let's drop that there, and that should be right through it, and it's not. So I'm going to move this from here down to there. So it probably came incorrect and I missed. Move that from there to perpendicular to there. And now we can get rid of this guy. Delete it. So this guy I can delete. And the reason I'm getting these blue lines is because I'm still in this. Now that I've got it dropped in here and I've got this, I don't need to be in that layer anymore. So I'm going to switch over to all non-XREF layers for now. Then I'm going to make my current layer the junk layer. That'll give me those red lines that help me identify that it's not part of my drawing. It's just my own line to myself. So we can move this over, you know, if we wanted to. And so I could just do something like that. But I'm going to undo that because what I want to do first is X-clip this. I'm going to X-clip this. And I'm going to do a new boundary. So I just hit enter again. I want it to be rectangular, enter again, and then just draw my rectangle. And it looks like my dimensions don't start till there. And they do go up into here. So I want to zoom in so I don't get snap points. Then I'll go from there, and then I'll come down and make sure I've got all my dimensions, which puts me there. Now my X-clip is made. You notice all that extra stuff. This is actually part of this drawing. Those are layers in here that keeps it from screwing up and going away. Now, for some reason, when I'm grabbing this, there we go, move. Oh, okay. So when I'm doing this, it's grabbing that because the clipping is way out here, or the drawing is. So the clippings, you're grabbing it by accident. So sometimes you have to, actually, there's still some of the drawing right there. Just keep finding till you figure it out, or window. Nope, it's not going to window there. I might have to get really big, but not include. Yeah, I'm just not getting it. So I'll grab that. Now I'll move it, and I'll bring it straight across just to get it closer. And then when we get back to our sheet for this level, I want to double click in here. And I can choose this pan command, or I can hit P and then bring it across to get that in here and make it fit nicely. And looks like I'm going to have to shrink down one a little bit because, boy, that's just about coming in. That's about as close as I can get it without cutting off my numbers on the left-hand side. And so I'm going to hit enter to get out of the pan command. Then I got to double click outside of this before I do any zooming around. I'm going to change the scale. So that's sitting there. Here I've got dimensions that I can pan over. So I'm going to pan this over to about there. Hopefully I kept that pretty see, I just did the dimension thing. I'm going to hit Control Z to undo it. I'm going to do it again on purpose. Scroll out. See my number? It's supposed to be 1/4 inch. So you could select this, but it might not go back to the same point. See, it went off into space. So I'm just going to go Control Z, Control Z. I might need one more. There we go. Now, let's just pan this thing over so I get my 56 right up close, giving myself something to work with. Now I clicked outside, double-clicked outside to close down that window. And then both of these could come over a bit. Looks like I'm still got a dimension hidden here. So I'm going to zoom in, and I'm thinking that I might actually have to go in and alter that dimensions size. So we're going to have to take a little bit of a shot because I can't see where it's going. And I got it, and now I could go a little bit more. Well, I got the whole number. So we're in great shape. It's the last dimension. There's no line going past it. So now both are in here, and they're sitting pretty. This just has no label, and this doesn't have a label. So I want to do that actually in the plan view. So here I think our date was correct, yes. So I'm going to zoom extents, leave that be. Remember, this is all just preliminary. Now I'm going to go to my floor plan. This is level 1. What I don't know is from here over, there's a secondary roof up here. And we'll be able to see that in in level 2. We'll see the secondary roof, and this roof will want to be a solid line. So we'll turn it to continuous. And if we extend out the back, we'll have to explode it and then make it dash through here so that the roof that comes through here is covering it. And where you see that is like if we go to the working drawing, we look at our section. Here's our post. That's the 8x8 post. And so one thing that makes these posts really stand out nicely is to hatch them with a poche. So I'll go to my A, poche layer, and that sets up a color that does a real nice halftone when it's plotted with my line styles. So then I'm going to come in here, and you can see I've got this thing going on. To keep from having that mess with me, let's turn it off for right now. So I'm going to freeze it. So I've freezed that entire junk layer. Now I'm in my A poche, so I'm going to type hatch, H. I'm going to pick one of these beams. I'm going to change it to solid, and then I'm going to say close the hatch editor. And that just set it up. So now I can go hatch, and I could do a whole bunch at once. As long as I'm confident that I've got this thing really done, I do still break it up into sections. There's a line here because we've got a real joint going through here. So there's also a line here. So this hatch just got to make sure you grab that little area there. So when we do this, hatch that, make sure you grab that little guy there. Now that one's hatched, that member. The same deal over here. And we got a break in a line right there. So I'm going to hatch. It's going to grab that portion, then this portion, and then our little tiny guy. So those are hatched. Now, what's nice about text is that it will hollow it out. But you're going to see something not hollow out very well here. Hatch, click, 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 click. Oh, it did a nice job. Because the C is big enough that this is not a L. It's just a line to make the center line symbol. I drew the line into there. So that's hatched. Looked for a minute like I missed something, but I didn't. Okay, so we're good. So let's hatch this vertical. Then let's hatch our knee braces. And then let's hatch our horizontal. And then let's hatch that. Come to the other side, get it. And then up here and up here. And we've got that. Then we can do this knee brace. And I'll do this knee brace separately. I'm just hitting enter, 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 enter. Then that, enter, enter. This, no little piece. Enter, enter, this, enter, enter. Knee braces. 1, 2, enter, enter, and the final post. When this plots, it just stands out. It's very nice looking. So this one's a different design, so we kind of got to do the same thing here. But to keep with the spirit of making these short as I can, I'm going to pause and do it. And I do have one more hatch to do in this bent, but just for some of you who are a little more veteran AutoCAD users, to hatch this post used to have to make sure that the whole thing was in the window. I just want to show you they've fixed this. It doesn't always work perfectly. So hatch, click it. Sometimes, yeah, see, it says it can't be determined. But I zoom out a little bit, but I still want to have the whole thing. Now let's see if it'll grab it. Now that I didn't want hatch, so we're going to undo. Okay, let's come out. Let's get a little tighter. Hatch. And I think I got her. Yep, I got her. Sometimes if you got a little bit hanging out, it might fill this in or do something weird because it's trying its best to figure out what you want. But it can get a little confused. So I got these two guys up here. So just so you can kind of get a picture for the whole thing. I'm going to zoom in. And this roof is this roof. This little section you can see is that little section. This roof is that roof. And then this wall is this wall. And I don't know if they want this extra overhang. Hasn't been discussed. So I'm not going to go to a lot of detail on that. And I don't know if they want doors in these. I don't know if they want windows. So I'm going to leave that area alone. We're going to take a shot at what goes in these clerestory, the windows up here. And one of the things I'm going to do is I'm going to go to their house. I'm going to steal one of these windows. And I don't think I've got enough room in the clerestory. We'll grab one. So let's grab that one. Oh, okay, it's got trim. We're just going to grab that one. That'll be enough. Control-Shift-C. I'll come right to the middle of it. I'll come over to my working drawing. And then I will Control-V and drop it. And you'll see how handy that'll come in. So what I'm going to do is we're going to get this set up better because we're missing some stuff that we need in here. So I'm going to X to get to the bottom of the list, go down to my level 2 because we put our drawing in our plotting drawing, but we haven't put it in our working drawing, and we'll need it. This is also going to get in the way because I'm going to put it below. And actually, I should put it above. So what we'll do is we'll swap these two. This is just here to keep the pattern. So I don't even care if it's in the way right now. I'm going to grab all of these. I'm going to move them down to the bottom since they are the lower portion. I'm going to move, and then I'm going to add the top one. And then these guys are specially scaled for sections. So they're sitting over here with the sections versus the elevations. And so we have section AA, section BB, section CC, and then we have an elevation down there of the opposite side of this. And we'll need an elevation of each end. We need to create those. So I can either choose to create those right here with the sections, above it, below it, kind of thing, and use the same plan reference, or I could make another one off to the side and go that route, because either way we're going to have external references, because if I change this drawing, all of these change, because I changed it in the plan view up here. So first, we're going to move these out of the way, but I want to keep them near the sections because they are important to the section views. So I'm going to put them between these two section views here. I got an extra artifact here anyway. Now let's move these down. Looks like I've got too long of a section still up here. Let's bring that down. Get it in nice and tight. And let's see what our other ones look like. So that one's good. So this one, we need to bring that down. Let's get in a little closer so we can see where we're at. Make sure we're not hitting our number to the far right over there. That's probably good enough. And then we're going to move all 5 of those. And we'll create our elevations. We'll do this as the front. Oh, it is going to be kind of different because to do the rear, I want to rotate this all the way around. So I'm going to do them to the side. that makes that up for us. So one thing I can do is these are grouped. This is with this, and this is with this. So before I really move big stuff, I'm going to go to all my layers. And I want to come and just check and see that everything is on and thawed. So I'm looking for a light and a freeze, because I don't want to leave like that cloud was in a certain place. And if I move the building that cloud was in, the revision cloud, the cloud would have been left behind, and I'd be wondering what it was. This is an XREF. There's really nothing, whether I move this or not, doesn't make any difference. Because it comes with the drawing. It has nothing to do with, it's just, is it on or is it not? And you can see it right there. So, no, those are on this junk layer. I'm sorry. Misspoke. But now, these dimension lines, that's what they're for, is to get all my dimensioning correct. Looks like these are off base a little bit down here. And that one looks on. So I think it's the actual dimensions themselves that are slightly off. And then this is an extra, this was fixed too. So not sure how this got back the way it was, but let's show you that trick again. Properties, go down to your text. We're going looking for the text rotation. 0. We want it to be 0, but 0 doesn't work. So just make it 0.01 and you'll get almost horizontal. And now you can take it and put it down someplace that makes sense to you. Then we'll hit save. And now what I want to do is I'm going to gather my sections all in one place. So that'll be down at this end. My elevations all in one place, so they'll be down at this end. So let's start by moving. Well, we want to come across this way to make sure we grab those. Didn't want to grab that, and I didn't get it. Now these are drawn lines. So I'm going to grab those. I don't necessarily want to move my 0 mark if it's correct, but I'll just deselect it. And then I need all of those. And then it didn't even select. So that's probably XREF'd in there. Hold the shift down, make sure it's not. And I'm going to take all 3 of those and make room for one more. So if I go from NEA and I go to this outside line, so near that line to perpendicular to this line, my result is going to be 2 down. I only want 1 down. So let's come back. Looks like, no, my ortho is not. See, this is not giving me a polar tracking. And I can't tell you why. Let's turn ortho on. Let's see if we get it. Yeah, we get an ortho. So I'm going to use ortho. We'll get this somewhere about where it looks good, to where it's in about the right place. That looks pretty good. I'm going to drop it. Maybe. Drop it. There we go. So now that these elevations are down here, I've got a section and a section. This is BB, CC. So I'm going to take and I'm going to move. Actually, we're going to create an elevation here. So let's do a copy. So we'll copy this. I'll deselect that from here, and we'll just get it down here. And again, remember that window and stuff that are in the background there. They're not going to bug me because it's just a pattern. I do want the window, but that's going to be fairly easy to select, although I've gotten some text in it, aren't I? So let's hit escape. Let's not do that yet. Let's move this window for sure. Not as worried about the hatch, but I'm going to move the window over to where I can easily grab it later. And my ortho is on. Ortho's working. I don't know why this guy's not working. Turn it off. Turn it on. Let's right-click it. Oh, that's object snapping. I'm sorry. Oh, it wasn't on. So now my ortho's off. Now let's see if it works. Let's see if it works. So we're going to grab all of this guy. make sure this is not selected. And I'm going to grab my XREF lines by crossing them from right to left. Then I'm going to come over, and now I can drop it without putting it on that window. So that looks good. But see, there we go. See, now it's horizontal line snapping. If I get in closer, I can see that. But if I'm in too close, I just can't see where I'm going to. And I want to see that. So I'll drop it there. So now I've got section AA, BB, CC. I'm going to need 2 elevations. So we'll have one here, and we'll have one here. So I'm going to move all sections down 1 spot to make room for this. So let's move all of this, less this, plus I'm going to go crossing to get my XREF lines. And we're going to make room for one more. So I'm just going to come and move it till I feel like roof pitch went to roof pitch. That's about 1. My polar tracking seems to be working perfectly. And now I've got space. So this is the front. So if I were to copy this, let's copy this guy and grab those. We'll copy it from here all the way down to in here because we're going to take the section into an elevation. Because a lot of the elevation is done. So we'll use it. Then we're going to mirror it around and get one over here. But we're going to rotate this. So best way to look at that is let's on the exterior wall, which matches this exterior wall. That's not even on the right wall line. So we got some little bit of checking to do. I'm going to move this down. I'm at 37 minutes. So let's get our XREF set up. We will cut this lesson. And then we'll start anew. Boy, there's not a lot of room in there. So I may have to, undo. I want to copy. I was thinking copy just this down. And the reason I'm copying it is because I need a view of the back side. So now that I've got it here, I'm going to rotate it around its own center, 180. You can't mirror it. You need to rotate it. This is totally symmetrical, so it didn't matter. But if it wasn't symmetrical, and, my north arrow, if nothing else, it's pointing the other direction, telling me something. So now that all these are up here, these are the bottom floor. So let's move them all. Move those. We're going to move them from here. And I chose that spot so that when I see my cross line below the drawings I'm working on, I know I'm in a good spot. So those are looking great. Now I'm in my working drawing, so we can move that over. And I have a feeling this is not the right properties the way I like it. So the properties, as far as how, I must have something else chosen. My properties weren't giving me what I wanted. Here we go. Top right. This needs to be middle center. And that way, if I want to center it on this building, I can use that node to do so. So I like all my labels to be that way. And I did correct one, so there's one that's corrected. I don't know how many I've got that need to be corrected. So this, we're going to make this, oh boy. We got a north arrow. And so this is going to be the south elevation. Well, there's our answer right there. So make sure my caps lock's on, south elevation. And then I want it to be single line, so I'll stretch that out. And then that tells me this could be an elevation, elevation, elevation. And then I'm going to have copy that from here. See that? Did that change? Okay. No, it didn't. So it's still centered. So it's just grabbing that endpoint. Now bring it down somewhere where I think I might want it. And let's just note it so we know that we're going to go north for this location. Now the last stage of getting the XREF set up is putting in that upper level, and then I could mirror this too. So we'll show you how to do that, and then we're going to be getting up in time, so I will have to abridge the note here so that it reads the right lesson plan, and then we will do the rest in another video. I don't like my videos getting over an hour, so I'm trying my best, but some of the stuff is slow. So now we're going to bring in our XREF. We are on the level 2 layer. We're ready to go. Come to my external reference, say attach. It should take me to the correct folder. It is in, nope, we're not. This is a completely different job. Projects, go to the Fisher Barn, and then I want to go to lesson 4, grab level 2, so open, specify its location on screen, not the first one. Say OK. And that should line me up. Looks like it didn't. But gotta check is here. XL vertical. Let's put it right on that crosshair. And it's a blue line, so it's going to stick out. So yeah, it didn't land correct. This is lined up with this, so I need to move this one. So we're going to move that, and we have that X line. And we're going to move it from, I'm going to take and bring this cord out to here, and then pull it back to here. Then I can delete this. So now that's lined up. So now let's X-clip it. Same as we did on the last one. Come in, get nice and close. This is going to be kind of odd, but I'll show you. I cut off too much. So just click it, pull it up, pull it out, pull it in, whatever you need to do. Get it where you want it. But then the next step is copy in all these spots and rotate. So this is the side wall that I chose a garage door. So this should have been lined up on this guy. But we dropped it in on just the 0, 0 point. And let's check that point. So if I do a line from 0, 0, yeah, see, it got moved. Somehow that got moved. So we're going to move it back to where it belongs. And we'll get rid of that. So now if I do line 0, 0, it comes out of there. I just keep those on one of each drawing, and it comes in handy for dropping stuff on top of each other. In this case, it didn't work out for us, but so what I'm going to do here is let's go off this roof. It's real easy to see. XL, V, put it there. Now I'm going to move this from there over till I hit that. Got it. Now I can take this and copy it. And do we have any more that are front facing? We got 2 more. They're down here. So let's put a X line for it to land on. So let's change our layer. Let's go to our layout aids. Can use that too. XL, V. It's another layer that doesn't print, but I use it for sheet layout. I don't usually use it in model space, but it's given us some different color here in this case. So now I want to copy this from the midpoint to there and to there. Those lined it up for us. I'll need another one here. And then I can zoom in on this and look. My garage door's on this side. So I want to rotate this so that this garage door goes that way. So that's clockwise, so it's a minus rotation. So rotate that about there, minus 90, enter. Doors on this side. Now we're going to do down here. Let's go down here. XL, vertical, and I'm going to find the midpoint. Specify line through. So it didn't give me V. X, XL space V space. Now drop it there. Oh, I guess it just wasn't giving me the preview. Now with this turned off, it should be working fine, but maybe that I need to restart AutoCAD. Now that that accelerator is off. We're going to move that. We're going to find the mid. There's the mid. Move it over, and that should be lined up. So what I'm going to do, just to be safe, oops, I don't want to grab it up there. I'm going to grab that, and I'm going to move it from here over to this center post. Center post. Right on it. Come over here. Center post. Everything looks great. So it's just going to be a matter of finishing that out all the way across here. Get all these lined up. And then we can start projecting lines, changing these sections into elevations, and doing the rest of our game plan that we had in here. So I will go to lesson 4, so we'll be adding a page, and this will be lesson 05, sorry, not 4. And then we'll give it a title, and I will take some of the verbiage from 4, put it in there, and that way I'm not getting my videos too long. So this one's 46 minutes. I'll never make it to the end. Oh, goodness. So you just saw me do that. I just want to show you that that's incorrect. I need these. This is level 1. It's white. Level 2. So you actually have to bring these across and rotate them. You can't copy that up. Even though they're so similar, it'll be very evident on like a house where things are different. I'm going to try and fit in some more of this. We got a little bit of time before we hit our hour. So on the T layout aids, that's good enough. We're going to freeze this poche. Actually, this is the elevation. I don't want to see it. Delete it. Delete it. Delete it. Delete it. Now, let's make this quick. Not freeze. Isolate that. And now I want to get rid of that. Then unisolate. They're all gone. Now, elevation markers for the frame, I don't necessarily need. I'm going to leave them there for now because we're going to come in and we're going to fix some stuff, but not all of it. In an elevation, I am not going to see this beam. So one thing I might want to do is kill off the center line. Kill off the dimension. Kill off this dimension and this center line, center line, center line, center line. I don't know why I'm not erasing. Come on. And this is just a reference line for the timber framer. I won't see the top of the post. I'm going to escape. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of this notation. I'm going to get rid of these and this and this. And then this notation. What I'm going to do is I'm going to hide or turn these into a hidden layer so that they will, well, that one looks like I accidentally erased one. But I don't really need it. But why I'm leaving it here is sometimes I might come back and say, gosh, it would be nice to have been able to reference that. And I can copy it over from the section. But if I could just reference it real quickly. But I can take it and turn it to the G junk layer. And this is a little bit of trick. I make it look like it's on the hidden layer. So I change it green, and then I change its line style to hidden, and then I change its LTS to 24. And I've got hidden looking lines, but they're not really. Now I just match properties, go around, and hide that, but I can still see them for later. So if we're doing the rear elevation, I'm going to copy this one because it's got the the bent that has the low loft floor, which will be what we see from the back. And I can tell you this one is not rotated yet because the door's on the wrong side. So we're going to first just copy this whole guy there, but I don't want that window, any parts of that window. I do want this dimension. I don't know why, because it's elevation. I probably won't need it. So I'm going to copy it. I'm going to copy it from this point, and I'm going to go perpendicular to that ridge. And you'll see the line appear down here. There it is, bink, and it drops right in there. Got some crossover. Stuff's just too tight. So this information always goes on sections for me. And I don't like to double up on information, because then if you make a change and you forget to change it in one place, then you're going to get that phone call during construction. Hey, which one of these is right? I got two answers here. So I try not to have any duplicates of information in my plans. It is a good practice. Okay, so same thing here. I'm going to kind of prep this, make that hidden line thing that I did with the other one to this one. So I use my G-Junk and my G-label junk layers a lot while I'm drawing, such as that guy, G-Junk. So I just placed all these on G-Junk, but I'd like to turn them off. So what I'm going to do real quick is I'm going to change these to just change the layer to T layout aids. See, the color stayed the same and everything. So I'm going to turn G-Junk into T layout aids, isolate these two layers, and now I can get rid of that and that and that and that. And I know that this was my T layout aids, so I want to go MA, turns to a paintbrush, and I don't want to grab that guy up there, but I do want to grab all of that, and that. And see that little line right there? Make sure you catch little guys like that. And a little double up just to make sure I got it all. And hopefully I do. And so one way to find out is to go to my G-Junk layer and then go to my T and freeze it or turn it off. And you can see it's off. So I'm going to undo that because I want to just turn things back on. See that that's on T layout aids. And now that that's on T layout aids, I can freeze that. But first, I got to do T layout aids to all this. So be an MA, bring one of these to start with, and then come over and fix all this. I'll be back. Quickly on the south elevation, we're going to take and we're going to freeze that guy, this layer. Oh, and those didn't go with it. See, these guys, I wanted to go with it. So that. Oh, come on. That. And those. Don't know what that is, so we'll have to double check on that. Watch what happens as we turn things off and on and see if we want that to go away or not. So those need to just be moved to the T layout layer. Yes. Now, that line, just can't tell you exactly what it is at this point in time. But what we're going to do is I did not end up keeping a line because I got rid of the stud that was in here. So all the way down to the bottom here, I want a line. For now, this is just a reference deal. Now, all of this stuff, we can turn off the sheathing. We can turn off because it's just not part of it. In fact, that interior line that I just said, let's save, we're not going to need it, but I kind of have an attraction to the baseline line until I get to a certain point in my drawing to where I feel comfortable. I'm going to get rid of, well, let's put an X line in. In fact, I can't get rid of it. So let's get rid of it. Then we're going to switch to, I don't know what that is. We're going to switch to the D, and we're going to go to our object dark. We're going to do an X line off our siding. So XLV off the siding. And if you watch previous videos, you'd know why that was the siding. This is on the wrong layer, I think. I don't know why that line turned blue. Oh, unless it's drawn on the 0 layer in. Okay, so this should be the upper level. So if I come here, let's see if it's on the 0 layer. Yep, see that's on the 0 layer. So these exterior wall, that exterior wall should be on a exterior wall. Then we hit save. It's the same color, so it fooled me. And since we had an issue there, let's save again. Let's go to our floor 1. Let's see if we got the same problem. It's on 0. And that wouldn't show up as different because the layer that we brought it into is white. So we'd never know it if we hadn't found it on the other one. Till probably later down the line when something mattered that brought it into our attention. So that's fixed for right now. So when I come back to the working, it should tell me, hey, you got to update some stuff. So that turned white. Okay. Now that we have this line in here, we know our exterior siding line. We're going to chamfer this to distance 0. And then we're going to trim it up to the bottom here. So I can do CH again. And then I want to do MA. Because we're going to outline this. This magenta line is a heavier, thicker, fatter line. Where this goes, how this works, where this is, undetermined. Don't think I need any of this. I certainly don't need insulation. That all can be reserved for the section. And then I'll get rid of the insulation here as well. And that is I want to get rid of that line yet. I've got sheathing. I've got a 2x. Yeah, no, this can go away. In fact, I don't even know that should be there. I think it was used to make this extension out. But this should be a 2x14 to get that depth. So if I go distance from here to perpendicular to there, it should be 13 and 3. It is 1 foot 3, which is 15 inches, which is our insulation depth. We need 15 inches of insulation to get the R60 if we're using mineral wool. So this line here is our interior line of the ceiling, but then we have tongue and groove, so this should be 3/4. That is, okay, so I'm just going to take and move this from here to here. That's our ceiling. I don't need the hatch now. This is part of that other. Going to take that and put it on T-layout aids. And this is sure. If I really wanted to be thorough about that, then I would have taken and made that line the hidden, all that type before I transferred it over. So not sure what this guy is. We probably have to go look at our section and reference, but I bet it's just, oh yeah, it's the top of that guy. So this one, I do want that to be correct. Although I could get it from the other side. It's for reference only. We'll delete it. I can get it back really easy. So this again is an elevation. So we have one elevation that we've got going. So let's do this one first. I don't know what that line is yet, but I'm not too worried about it. What I want is I want to take this piece and we're going to mirror it. And I kept the ceiling line in there because if I'm going to put windows in, I need to know where I could put them to without hitting the ceiling. Then I'm going to keep that, and I got my elevation pretty started. And then we have, this is the south elevation. So this elevation is the door. So look at that blue. So I see that's telling me that right on that first floor, that's still on the 0 layer. Yep. So MA, take that one and take it to there, and then the other side of the door. Say save. When we go back to our working, then we should have an update. It didn't give us an update. That's level 2. Let's reload. They didn't turn white. So what that tells me is that my save didn't take. I'm just going to hit save. Oh, didn't get it. Save. Oh, I don't have my... If this happens and you're not getting your delay, check your options, I believe. Nope, that's not it. So go back down here, input settings. Yes, time delay. Now, when I hit save, I should have a delay of 300 milliseconds. So I'm going to hit save. Save. It's just not doing it. So if I want to see if it's doing it there, it's doing it. All right, so now that that's saved, and I think my AutoCAD's telling me, begging me to restart. See, this isn't even telling me that it needs it. Now it's saying it's not found. So select a new path. We're in the right lesson. This is floor 1, open. It didn't turn it white. I can't tell you what's going on there. I had to troubleshoot that. Okay, it was easy enough to fix, and I'll fix it, but it's just that it's on level 2. I forgot. The garage door shows through to level 2 because it's so tall. Okay, so this door, Excel. Let's get on to our D object layer. I don't want to line that fat for the door. So D object, so when I XL, vertical, I'm going to put one on each side of the opening. I'm going to come down here. This thing needs to be offset 14 feet tall, 16 feet wide. So it fits within our bend. That was the whole idea between where the knee braces were hitting and where that cross beam was going through there, was to get this door in place, make it fit. So then on the outside of our elevation, we're just going to do 5.5 because it matches what we have on the house. And so then I could put in my roll-up lines. But what I'm after is, let's get these guys in here. So I'm going to do an X line, XL, H. And I'm going to show my glazing, my window, my frame. So let's check a distance here. Distance from there to there is 2'4.5". Let's try from here to here, 2'3". And I think my glazing, I could only get 2 feet. So those are 1.5 inches, 2 foot of glazing, and I don't think that's the way that this is drawn. Is that 1.5 inches? It's 2 1/4. That's it. There we go. Okay. So we're still okay. So I'm going to move this from here, get it over close to where we want to be, which is going to be in this area in here, and it's going to be up where we can't see it. It's going to be somewhere up in there. Then in our floor plan view, if we're looking at the door, then on our right-hand side, on level 2, we should draw some windows here, just to show you how this works, and then I'll come in and finish it. So let's draw a line from here to here to find our center, and then let's draw a line from here. I'm going to pull it out 24 inches, and then I'm going to turn it to the D center layer, and then to make this look like a center line, this needs to be 12. If you make a 4-foot line, then it can be 24. but I used 2 foot for this part. This is my framed wall. And this is my timber frame. We're putting the window in the framed wall portion. It'll probably get pushed to the outside into the insulated portion. So if we consider it in the insulated portion as far as where we're going to frame it, it's going to go 1 inch back from here so that it sits on the furring. And you'd have to go back to further lesson plans if you really want to understand that. So now I'm going to draw a line from here to here. Oh, I'm on a doors layer. G, let's get to my G junk layer. Now that that's on G junk, I'm going to switch and draw there so I can see the colors real easy. Now I'm going to move this from its midpoint to the midpoint of that G junk. Now I know that's centered, so I can move this. And then let's come out and take a look, see what we like. So if I start pulling it down, I'm getting a readout number next to that word puller. And that's 3 feet. Now I'm at 4 feet. 4 feet's pretty good. So let's do 48. 48, enter. And then, so I've moved that. And then I want this to be on the same layer as this guy. So now I can extend it out to my siding. I could get rid of this. That was just a temporary line. Then I can mirror this about that center line. And then I want to draw a window line. So if I want, I can go straight to a window and then draw a line from the midpoint of that until I hit there, and then extend it out to here, and then offset 1.5. Offset 1.5. And move that out. And then this goes onto what's called the A glaze layer. The reason there's 2 different layers is because we turn off the A glaze layer to put in headers and use this to drop headers to make it real quick and easy to lay out the framing. So it's starting to look pretty good. I want, indoors I would trim out that siding, but in windows I won't. So that window's pretty much done, except we need a line from here to here, and then one from here to here. I'm still on my A glaze layer, or A window. I didn't change back to my G junk to make sure that it sticks out so that I remember that I want to put these on their proper layers. So this goes on that exterior wall layer. Now I have that one, and this distance is different. If you remember, each of these is different from each other. But I'm just going to save this because this gets repetitive, and we are just over an hour already. So I'm just going to show you how this goes real quick. I'm going to update, and there's my window. So I got XL, V, there's one, there's the other, and now I've got my window that's sitting in here, and I can determine the height to wherever I'd really like it to be, or since I know that I've got this to work with, if I go XL, H, I can set that there. Not on my junk layer. G, junk, and then let's change this to G, junk, and then we're going to mirror it about here. So now I got both, and then all I got to do is stretch this up to the glazing to glazing and stretch that, less those, and that. I'm only trying to stretch the window, and I want to stretch from glazing to the glazing layer mark. Now I can get rid of that. This is hidden behind the trim. I won't see it. So what I would do is break all these. We're going to do this one window, and then we're going to end this video because I'm over an hour, and I told you guys I wouldn't do that anymore. I told you I wouldn't do it anymore. Extend, it's hard. And then I can take these layers and change them to a G-junk layer, something that's just not going to print and show. And is that straight? Might have to check that. So for right now, I'm just going to drop it onto the G-junk so I know it's there. And then I'm going to just grab this, check its properties. I'm off. So when this got brought in, something happened. But before we go to all the trouble of, I just want to end this video. So let's just finish this. So I'm going to bring my glazing mark from its midpoint, which is there, to the mid of that. It went to, I don't think that went to the mid. From there to the mid, and then just pick the red line. Oh, it was close. Okay, so that's there. Now I got to do a stretch. This, don't want to stretch that. Doesn't matter if I stretch those lines because they're not going anywhere anyway. From my glazing line to my glazing line, and then the same thing in the other direction, and I will be done with this. Oh, now we can really see where the middle of this is. Boom. And in the mid, oh, I got the mid symbol. I think they're the same point. So there's my midline. There's my window. Get rid of my X lines. And I've got the beginnings of one window out of many. Then I'd get my siding in here. So SPL. Just give it a nice curve. And oops, that jumped over. Undo. And sometimes you got to turn these guys off, and that'll give you some freedom to just freehand this sort of stuff in here. And I'm just going to do the one side. I could freeze that real quick. That's de-hidden. And if I want to make it the way that I did my other stuff, I would actually change that to that line style. But for right now, just to make this fast, I'm just going to freeze that. Now it's gone. So now I can go hatch in that area, then MA to match my siding style. And now I have siding. Notice it's different than roofing. And they're really similar, but at least they're different. It looks great on the house. This is a little harder to read. What you'll be surprised when this, let's get away from this layer for a second because I want to freeze that layer just to show you. When printing, that's more of what it's going to look like. You won't see that line. You just see it's not so busy as having lines go all the way across. So more windows will make it look more natural, more detail down here. Some corners, I'll probably, this is in the wrong place. So that's part of my problem. If I copy this from here, let's turn some snaps on. Snap, that, and that. Copy that from here. And I want to go to there. Now, when I trim this, didn't need to hit that other one. Trim that and that. That's where my roof line is. Then I trim between here, trim out that. Then this actually needs to be back here. Now it's starting to look more. This is that overhang. It's where the stairs and stuff are going to go. Maybe you're starting to see it come to play. So this comes into this point. So, got to put an end to this video. We're at almost an hour and 15. This is Mark with Not Square Design. And I hope that you enjoyed this and got something out of it. And I'll start another one to finish this up and finish the rest of our steps. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you. I believe it's lesson 6, but I could be wrong. So it's lesson 4 or 6. Let's look real quick. It's lesson 5. Lesson 5. See you there.